3 dogs end up beyond enemy lines. Their spirit is awesome.
In the shattered earth of the Western Front, where men sank knee-deep in mud and terror, a small red Irish Terrier named Prince trotted through the smoke. He wasn't a soldier, but he carried courage that many men only dreamed of. Prince had come to France with the British Army, a wiry, bright-eyed terrier with fire in his heart. The men laughed at first, calling him the Ginger Rat. But soon they realized he had no fear. He darted through shellfire as if it were rain. He delivered messages across killing fields, where human runners fell silent. Prince had come to France with the British Army, a wiry, bright-eyed terrier with fire in his heart. The men laughed at first, calling him the Ginger Rat. But soon they realized he had no fear. He darted through shellfire as if it were rain. He delivered messages across killing fields, where human runners fell silent. One day, near the Somme, a desperate message had to be sent. Communications were cut, the enemy closing in. Prince was given a small metal canister, clipped to his collar. He looked up once at his handler, as if to say, "I understand." Then he vanished into smoke. Hours passed. No one thought he'd made it. Then, through the drifting gas and ruin, a figure appeared, limping, burned, bleeding. Prince. The message was gone from his collar. He had delivered it. He had saved them all. The men wept openly that night, feeding him bits of biscuit and beef from their rations. When the war ended, Prince received the Blue Cross Medal for gallant conduct and devotion to duty in the field. But medals meant nothing to him. He just wagged his tail, happy that his friends were alive. They called Irish Terriers the daredevils of the dog world. But perhaps they were something more. Small hearts burning bright, in the darkest pit humanity ever dug. Prince's story reminds us, bravery doesn't wear rank. Sometimes, it wears fur and a muddy collar. He was just a stray, a ragged little terrier wandering the streets of Paris in 1918, hungry, alone, and unnoticed. Until one day, a young American soldier named Private James Donovan saw him, and said, "You look like a survivor." He named him Rags, and together they went to war. Rags became the mascot of the 1st Infantry Division, a tangle of fur and fire, too stubborn to stay behind. He learned to salute, to bark when shells were incoming, and to carry messages in a little tube tied to his collar. Then came the worst day. The regiment was trapped. Communication lines were gone. Shells tore the earth to pieces. Donovan, wounded but alive, tied a note to Rags' collar and whispered, "Go, boy, run." And Rags ran, through smoke, through screams, dodging shellfire and poison gas. By the time he reached command, he was half-blinded, ears torn, and gas burned. But the message got through. Reinforcements arrived. Hundreds were saved. Both man and dog survived the war. Rags became a symbol of endurance. The dirty, limping stray who never quit. When Donovan died years later, Rags lay on his grave for days, as if guarding his friend one last time. They called him Rags, but in the trenches, he was pure gold. A reminder that courage doesn't always march on 2 legs. Sometimes, it trots through the mud and saves the world quietly. They called him Rags, but in the trenches, he was pure gold. A reminder that courage doesn't always march on 2 legs. Sometimes, it trots through the mud and saves the world quietly.
In the ruins of France, 1940, a Czech airman named Václav Bozděch stumbled upon a small German shepherd puppy, shivering beside its dead mother. He named him Antes, and from that moment, The two became brothers in war. Together, they escaped occupied France, flying through storms and gunfire to reach England. When Bozděch joined the Royal Air Force, Antes stayed at his side, curling beneath his bunk, waiting by the runway, sensing every takeoff and landing. But one night, as the bombers roared overhead, Antes broke free from camp. He raced onto the airfield, heart pounding, tail slicing through the wind, and leapt into the open cockpit of Bozděch's plane. He refused to leave, so the pilot took off, with his dog as co-pilot. Flak exploded around them, engines screamed, and yet, through the chaos, Antes stood by his master, silent, steady, his eyes never blinking. Together they completed their bombing run over Germany and returned safely. Antes wasn't just brave in battle. He could sense when his master was in danger, barking wildly moments before enemy raids, or pacing when planes went down. Once, after Bozděch crashed behind enemy lines, Antes tracked him for miles through gunfire, and found him. After the war, the RAF awarded Antes the Dickin Medal, the animal equivalent of the Victoria Cross. His citation read, "For courage and devotion beyond the call of duty." Antes lived the rest of his days beside Bozděch, a soldier, a friend, a shadow of loyalty that even war couldn't burn away.